Now, Niantic released kind of the first major update to Pokemon Go, and what they did is not quite sitting well with many gamers out there. They came out and they explained their decisions to make these changes, and this is on Kotaku. They came out and said, we have removed the three-step display in order to improve upon the underlying design. The original feature, although enjoyed by many, was also confusing and did not meet our underlying product goals. We will keep you posted as we strive to improve this feature. It also caused something called the three-step glitch, where even though it would show that Pokemon was 3 steps away from you, which was, I think, supposed to be within 200 meters of your position, it didn't matter. You wouldn't be able to find them, or it would not. It would the 3 steps. Oh, and at one point, I think it would show all Pokemon as being 3 steps away from you. So, yeah, it wasn't quite working. I'm not too hung up over it, because it didn't really seem to work anyway. Matt, are you hung up?
Not really. Um, at the same time, I feel like they shouldn't have gotten rid of the radar at all. I feel like they should have left something because when it first came out, it was it was confusing, but it also kind of made sense. And again, it was like just out of alpha, like this is beta, so we're just testing it. So what they had before was good enough for them. And then this three-step glitch happened, and it was like it started becoming like a few people, like you could talk to them and just be like, yeah, everything on my radar is 3 steps. I was like, oh, that's weird. I still have 1 and 2 steps. And then I got to the point where everyone's was 3 steps. No one could tell where anything was.
Yeah.
And even when you could tell, like the 1, 2, and 3 step, like 1 is closest to you, 2 is in between, and 3 is far. Like you still had to play a guessing game of which direction do I go to. I feel
Yeah.
like they could have made it a lot better by um, like if you click on your radar and you click on a specific Pokemon that you wanted to go to, it would become like the focus of your radar. And I think if you started walking in the right direction, a little like the rectangle of like your radar, it would like blip,
Hmm.
and like the closer you got, the more it like blinked. Either that or I was just crazy. But I feel like if they were to do something like that, like the closer you get to the Pokemon that you want to get to, like the more your radar blinks, I feel like that would have been a better way of doing it. But now, yeah, they've completely gotten rid of the radar, which they might they might have just done that just because the radar was just confusing altogether. And honestly, with the three-step glitch, I don't think anyone ended up using the radar.
Hmm.
So at least I didn't after that because it was like, what's the point? I don't know where anything is anymore, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to rely on that. And then this came out, and people were like, "Oh, it's gone. How am I going to find things?" It's like, how could you find things before?
Yeah. It was always kind of a you just walk around, and I would try to, I guess, select a Pokemon from the list, and I guess my theory was, well, if I select it, then the little rustlings that I'm seeing in the grass will only be that Pokemon. I don't think that was actually the case, but I had convinced myself that that's what was going on. And some of the other changes they mentioned, just that they hadn't launched it in Brazil at the time. I think they launched it yesterday in Brazil, and they're trying to roll it out, you know, globally, and they're running into some obstacles. So some people aren't happy that it's not everywhere yet. Um, and I guess what they've also done is they've added a lot more warning screens, like don't play Pokemon Go while driving, don't trespass on private property. Um, we don't do those things, man.
No.
No, no, we would never. I mean, it's a silly game that who cares if you've been trying to look for a Bulbasaur for a week and he pops up while you're driving? No, you're supposed to keep driving or pull over and stop your vehicle. Do the responsible thing. But yeah, they have those warning screens up there. They warn you, I think, twice now to be aware of your surroundings. And, that's obviously that's going to be thrown in there. I mean, they're already getting lawsuits about, people clogging up these parks where there's like, three or more Pokestops and people going to some people's houses and kind of clogging up the streets. It is getting a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, people just kind of need to chill. It's not all of Niantic's fault. The one thing that I did see as a change that a lot of people have reported, but Niantic hasn't verified yet, is that Pokemon seem harder to catch now. They run away a lot more easily than they used to. So I'm not cool with that.
No.
Because to me it was already a good enough challenge. You already have to, you already have to have good aim, good timing, and even then it's not a guarantee that you're going to catch what you're throwing it at, using berries and all that stuff. To me that seems like it's nothing more than a, hey, I see you're out of Pokeballs. You can buy some. And I heard of one other podcast that I listened to. They basically said like, oh, well, I've never put money into this game. Yeah, they also mentioned that the place where they work is a Pokestop. So every 5 minutes they can just go through and restock. So yeah, that works for you. But for someone like me, who I live close by to a Pokestop, I'm not going to walk over or drive over to it every time I run out and plan my route around going home, which is what the game had, this is what I needed to do if I wanted to stay supplied enough to play the game, is I had to drive in certain areas of town that I don't usually do. So, that also is encouraging not good driving habits. So, yeah, not a fan of that change at all. But I do think that they are, as far as removing inappropriate Pokemon stops, they're doing a good job with that. And I do think once the hype for this game dies down a little bit, we won't be seeing so many of these articles and people won't be going so crazy about it.